What's up everybody, this is Ven welcoming you to another MOC Spotlight where we take apart what you build. And for today's episode we'll be taking a look at this Steampunk self-MOC created and posted to our message boards by Rhoda Lorem. And now before we get started, let me remind you of my method of reviewing, which involves a point system that is based on 3 fundamental attributes: the overall appearance of the MOC, the build of the MOC itself, and the concept and ideas behind the MOC's creation. Each quality will mount up to 10 points, leading up to a final score that will be determined at the end of the episode. And please remember that this is all based on my opinion. So let's get this started. Hey, this looks pretty good. Oh wait, first of all, hashtag no filter. Much better. So what we have here is a very robotic looking design that appears to be what we call here in the US of A sir, with this fancy top hat and this neat, cute little monocle. I do really like this as it gives the MOC a good bit of character, especially since we don't really see too many other notable characteristics in the build. However, there is a consistent motif, like all the round and cylindrical parts of the MOC. A lot of mechanical detail, especially here in the midsection of the torso, which looks a bit gappy, but I think it really adds to the robotic aspect of this figure, just to be able to see these mechanical details. And I do really like these aesthetics. It gives it texture without looking messy, and it's interesting to look at. Now, my only complaint about this would probably be the color scheme. For the most part, the color scheme is consistent with black and gray spread out here and there. Could probably use a little bit more light gray on the legs to kind of balance out with the light gray on the arms, or maybe the arms could use a little bit more black to balance out with the legs, but nothing really too bad. I can't even complain about the conservative usage of gold. Some might say that there's not really enough of it. I honestly think that this is kind of a cool design aspect, and I don't really mind it. However, what I do mind is the usage of this dark gold here on the back. I don't really think that looks all too great. I would just completely stick with one type of gold, the brighter gold, because the dark gold is kind of ugly and it blends in too much with the gray. But that's not really even my problem with the colors. My problem with the colors is that aside from the gold, it's very monotonous, and it wouldn't really bother me if the builder wasn't trying to sell me that this was supposed to be a steampunk influenced MOC. And when I hear steampunk, this is kind of what I expect. As soon as I think of steampunk, I picture this and this. You know, a lot of complexities, a lot of mechanical detail just all over the place, and most of all, copper, brown, bronze, all these bleak shades of color. And this is why I like the usage of the gold on this MOC, because that's the only sense where I get that color scheme. Because aside from the gold, we have the black and the gray, and that really doesn't speak steampunk to me. And I think what could have helped would be the usage of maybe some dark orange, maybe a bit more gray than black, maybe some silver, maybe some brown, maybe some instance where black isn't really the dominant color. Because aside from color, I'd say the steampunk style is pretty well defined here. We got all the intricacies and all these mechanical details. The dude even has actual screws on his kneecaps. That's a neat little detail there. And the only thing I don't really think fits the steampunk style besides the color is the weapon choice, this big hammer, but I also find it to be really fitting with the MOC, so I don't think I'm mad at it. However, one detail that I also am not a big fan of is the striped pattern here on the chest. I don't think that really works. I would have preferred if the chest piece here was actually a solid color. Actually, I think this chest piece exists with gear details on it. That probably would have worked a lot better as well. I don't think the stripes are a bad idea. I just think they would look better if they were placed on a different portion of the MOC. Now, of course, appearance isn't everything, because when you look past all that, the MOC's got a great build as well. It's very complex, but also really well put together. The parts here are used efficiently and cleverly, I would say, because we are left with a nice solid action figure with lots of posability in the waist, fingers, and shoulders, elbows, knees, all that good stuff. And the smaller parts being used for details are just so well integrated you hardly even notice them at first. Like, the MOC's got a good sense of flow, although I'm not 100% sure how to feel about the usage of non-Lego parts, like all these little wires and the screws in the kneecaps that I mentioned earlier, because on one hand it's still pretty creative, and I generally don't mind it all too much if you're using non-Lego parts to add on to the MOC in more subtle ways like this, but on the other hand, I also feel like these sort of details could have been captured through Lego, but meh. Alright everybody, I think it's just about time we go ahead and wrap things up and go over the final scores, shall we? In terms of appearance, this MOC receives an 8 out of 10. I really do like this design, even if it is asymmetrical, even if it does look incredibly robotic. Like, these are qualities I really do like about the MOC. It's very unique, it's got a great silhouette, it's all really well done, and the head design is just the icing on the cake. But again, what does hold it back for me is the color scheme, or rather lack thereof, with all this black and so little anything else really. In terms of the build, this MOC receives a 9 out of 10. We have a really impressive custom build that not only keeps the MOC standing up and sturdy, but also provides it with a buttload of articulation and just the style and details that the builder was looking for. And finally, in terms of the concept, this MOC receives an 8 out of 10. I feel that overall the builder successfully emulates the steampunk aesthetic. Even if it is missing a lot of the colors usually associated with steampunk, it's okay, it's still a great looking MOC. I would have just liked to have seen a bit more commitment to that idea. And now we are left with a final score that all adds up to a 25 out of 30. So great job to you, Rotalorum. Congratulations for making it onto the MOC Spotlight, and I do hope to see more out of you. And as for the rest of you viewers, I am also welcoming you with open arms to present me with your own MOCs on our message boards at board.t2bchannel.com. Just create an account with us if you haven't already. Post in the LEGO Creations category, and if you're still confused on that whole process, we do have a tutorial video here on the channel. So if you're interested in becoming featured on the MOC Spotlight sometime in the future, definitely look into it. And until then, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.